Hi everyone, my name's Jess and today I'm going to be trialing out the InVideo AI's new agent model. So what the agent model does is essentially it takes all of the incredible tools that are out there on the marketplace in terms of generative AI, and it takes your amazing creative ideas and it acts as a bit of a bridge and a translator between the two. I think right now for a lot of creatives, it's kind of like all these amazing ideas and concepts, but the the knowledge gap is definitely a barrier to being able to make what you want at scale and at speed with AI. And also the fact that prompting is a really time-consuming process and learning what models you should be using, etc. So the agent essentially sits as a translator and a bridge between those two things to bring your ideas to life as quickly as possible. So these are going to be my live thoughts and reactions of trialing the model for the first time. And yeah, let's get into it. I've captured some reference images of a kind of world I want to create, and then what I'm also going to be trialing today is I've created a sort of AI avatar for myself, and I want to see how consistent the model is in terms of how does it do with that continuity and, can we blend those two worlds together. This is kind of the world that we're going to be exploring today. I've not got a set structure in mind. I really want to test how the model does on its own, being able to pull something together and if it can think in that multi-shot cam approach and all the rest of it. And then what I've done as well is that I've built out a little AI version of myself, and then you kind of have that as your main reference image throughout. So we've popped in our reference images, and then I wrote out a very simple prompt, which we're putting in here as well. Key points, I've told it exactly what kind of format I want, the length of it. That's always a good starting point for it, because then if you're telling it social media, it's going to be thinking in terms of hooks, the right length, duration, etc. But then what I've also done is kind of expanded the language to showcase, like, I don't want this to feel glossy or sometimes that AI effect of like waxy skin and figures. I'm using words like cinematic, I'm using words like editorial, high fashion, grainy, dreamlike, nostalgic, memory. So it's all trying to lean into that feeling. So this is all that the model has to go off of. Let's see how we go from here. So as you can see what's happening immediately, the platform is starting to break down and understand what is the workflow that's going on here, what references do we have, what pieces of information are missing from that initial prompt to be able to kind of turn it into something bigger. What happened is now that it's digested the information, it's kind of coming back and asking me a few clarifying questions of what I want. It's also asking about the music, so you can see that it's kind of thinking about the 360 approach to how to create. As now you can see off the back of my feedback, the model is basically digesting all of that and kind of creating the next steps. What's happened now, it's taken all of that information, it's created our first like hero image, which is what was going to kind of drive everything. I love the dress and kind of that initial hero image, so we're going to move ahead with this. I feel like I'm sort of directing, overseeing it with minimal supervision, but I'm able to kind of jump in at the right points and kind of give guidance on if something isn't working, which is quite nice. Then this is kind of the second image that we'll be working with, and then this is the third one. I was able to kind of give feedback on specific images and just tell it how I wanted things to be changed, and then it did that automatically, so that's really useful. So now I'm going to say, okay, I want you to use images 1.1, 2.1, and 3.1. So now I also want like a bigger variety of angles. What's also really cool is that I've been typing everything out, but you also have the ability to just speak to the agent, which is how I like to work. So I'm just going to prompt it directly using voice in. So that's also like a massive unlock. That's always how I like to work. I don't like spending my time writing out like extremely long prompts. So this is a really quick way to make it conversational and digestible. Okay, so now what it's done is that it's come back with some more images, and you can kind of start to see which ones are working, which ones aren't. So you can kind of see how it's built in like the skin texture and the detail and things like that, which is nice. It's come up with and suggested a few additional shots. So I'm going to approve those, and then we should be good to go into kind of the animating stage. Okay, so I'm pretty excited. It's now gone through, it's animated all of the clips that we selected, it's created some ambient music, and we're going to watch our social media clip for the first time. Okay, so I like it as a first watch, but I think some key things that stood out to me, I don't want these like black flashes in between each segment. I think I want it to be a lot smoother than that. Right now it keeps like flashing. The other thing is in terms of the structure, I think let's kind of front load more of those, like, let's actually do some close-ups to begin with, and then it's like we kind of start to come out and we see that she's on the clouds and like how sort of surreal that is. So maybe we start with like one shot of the clouds, and then we kind of go in, have the close-ups, and then we come back out and we see the world that she's in. So make those adjustments. Okay, nice. So what it's done now is like, it's really, after we kind of restructured it, I feel like it took that information really well. It kind of reshuffled the order, and it was a lot more seamless, which is great. And now we've kind of got these like cool shots at the end. So overall, like very happy with this and feel as though this is much more the direction of what I wanted to do. And so like the thing that I would say is that from idea through to this point, it's probably taken me like a total of, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes, something like that. And a lot of that is more just kind of like waiting for it to prompt and kind of generate images and videos. Like it wasn't like as intensive and time consuming. So really happy with this as like a final product, given the time. I think what I would do if I was just investing more time in it is like I would spend more time refining each of those hero images. I think the animation, the composition, editing, that it understands really well. It's just that kind of refinement of the images from in the first place is where you kind of spend most time. So thank you so much for watching my little tutorial demo live reaction on the InVideo AI agent. I have to say, overall takeaways is it's a really seamless process, very intuitive. I think for anyone who's looking to step into the generative AI space, it would definitely be like a first port of call. It really like strips away all of that back end stuff of having to worry about what model you should be focusing on, kind of, or even thinking about what the workflow and that process looks like. So I think it's definitely great for anyone who's kind of looking to advance in the AI space, but also for professionals who want to be able to kind of work at speed, because I think, as I said in the video, the whole thing took me about 25 minutes, and to be able to turn around something that high quality that quickly on a first go, I was really impressed with. So yeah, thank you so much to InVideo AI for the opportunity to try out their new agent model. I'm definitely going to be coming back and using it, and I'm definitely going to be using it in particular for kind of social media content. I think there's a real opportunity in that space to kind of use the platform and create some really amazing content, which we all want to be doing. So thank you so much to InVideo AI.